intentional fam. And if you're new here, welcome to our safe space. My name is Aaliyah, and I am the very intentional mama who's healing intentionally and sharing my journey to encourage you that your healing is possible, your story matters, and you're exactly where you need to be. Today is a little dark, all right, because it is raining, but we're still going to press through on our topic for this week. So today, it might feel a little uncomfortable because it calls for us to look back at labels from our childhood. And these labels, they probably shaped who we thought we had to be as adults. And chances are that you are over surviving life like this and you're ready to see if there is something better. And newsflash, there is. All right, and so what I'm going to do is, and I probably should put like a trigger warning because I know for myself, hearing some of these, especially if they are directed towards children, they can tend to, stir up some feelings. So trigger warning, I'm going to just say some labels and I want you to let me know in the comments if any of these were attached to you growing up, or if I didn't name one, let me know some of the labels that were put on you as a child. And we'll get deeper into it. So some labels that came up were shy, fast, too sensitive, talks too much, doesn't know anything, and oh boy. Side note, there are oftentimes sayings that we said just growing up because it's what we heard. And so, like, for instance, being like, oh, that boy don't know nothing. We say it and I'm saying we as a collective culturally, we say it, not realizing how a child can take that and internalize it. But we will dive deeper into phrases and things of that nature at a later date. But for now, some other labels, oh, that child be all over the place. And the list can just continue to go on. And so for me, I heard many of these, and what I wish someone would have shared with me is that these labels weren't describing who I was, because I really took it internally and I felt like, okay, well, if I'm shy, then I don't speak up for myself. Well, if everybody's always talking to me about, boys only want one thing, and, Aaliyah, if you have a baby, you're going to keep that baby, then maybe I am fast. And so what I wish someone would have said is that these labels aren't describing who you are or who you were. They are just describing how you are surviving your environment. And the problem with childhood labels is that they follow you into adulthood. Like, as I shared, thinking that I was shy. So there would be times where I would have really amazing ideas, but I would keep them to myself because as a shy person, you don't speak up. Or if there was something that I didn't really like, I would agree with it just so that we could keep the peace. And that turned me to being a really great people pleaser. And so like just these labels can attach them to us. I felt like I was too sensitive. So I would try not to show any emotion to certain things because I didn't want to cry. And then somebody say, oh, here she goes again. She always crying. Like, dang, can I not just feel for certain situations? And so these things that people had put on me as a child, they actually, as I got older, I thought that's just who I am. When in reality, people didn't see it from a different perspective. It's not that I was shy. It was that I'm trying to figure you out. Like, do I actually want to associate myself with you? Do I want to engage in conversation with you? And I'm also a really good listener. Sometimes I don't talk because I'm just listening and I don't really have anything to say. I don't want to, especially if I notice that a person needs that space to let something out. Let me just sit here and listen. I had a friend one time who shared with me, she was like, Aaliyah, I didn't know that about you. And for her, that meant, dang, I need to stop and just listen sometimes whenever she's talking. It's not the fact that I am shy. It is literally just the fact that I'd rather listen and be observant first before sharing my 2 cents. Being too sensitive, that was one that took me a really, really long time to overcome, because it's like I don't know what else to do with my emotions. Like, you're telling me that I'm too sensitive when I'm crying about something that actually, in my opinion, feels like it deserves some tears. And in reality, I just feel real deeply about certain stuff. Whenever there's something that is bothering me or that I'm really passionate about, or I know that it's going to be a tough conversation for me to have, I might shed a few tears. And it doesn't mean that I'm too sensitive. It's just either one, I'm probably overcoming something as I'm doing this, so it's a little difficult. And then again, I really feel for other people, especially when they're sharing their story with me, or if they're sharing something that's really bothering them. Like, I'm just, that's just a gift that I have. And so, what I say to say all of this is, when you're living from these labels and from these wounds, instead of you showing up as a whole person, it affects more than just you. Because now you're showing up as a fraction of who you really are in every relationship, including with your children. And no one ever gets to see the beauty of all sides of you when you only show up as a fraction of yourself. To your children, you are always the serious one, because you were taught that if you laugh or enjoy your child like you would a friend, then they will talk back to you, or later on down the road, instead of you spanking them, they're going to be spanking you. Don't get me started on that one. We're not going to get started on that one. Or your friends only see the version of you that's always happy and living life, but behind closed doors, you are crying out for help and wishing you could talk to them. But mama and daddy always said, what happens in the house stays in the house. And so now the people that God has put in your life for you to actually lean on, the people he has sent to you to be your wise counsel, you're now turning away from them and not sharing the things that God is saying, look, this is the help that I sent you. And so your trauma may have made you who you are, but your trauma no longer has to shape your future. And that is why next week I will share with you how I overcame so many wounds and labels that no longer determine who I am. And if you're a little eager to learn and you're like, I'm not trying to wait all the way until next week, you can go ahead and check the description below. But also be sure to join the email list, where every week I send out encouragement, practical tools, and I dive a little deeper into my day-to-day life that no other platforms get, so that we can all continue moving forward in our intentional motherhood journey. And if you that was such a deep breath. But if this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and share with a mama who needs to hear this message. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because we're building a community of moms who are healing intentionally and raising the next generation from a place of wholeness. I want to leave this with you and say, the woman you are becoming has always been inside of you, hidden under all those layers of other people's expectations and childhood coping mechanisms and survival strategies that you took on. Until next time, keep healing, keep growing, and remember, you are not your wounds, you are not your labels, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. I love you, and see you soon.